Welcome to the 6:45 council work session. Draft agenda review and approval. Does anyone have any changes?
There's a change that I think we have to put in regarding the grant.
We would like to put the, having the attorney sign off on the, what's the grant called?
Right, first of all, it's by the Governor's Crime Commission, the North Carolina Department of Public Safety, in concert with the United States Department of Justice. Chief Claimer applied for a 100% funded grant without any town matching funds, which was approved. He did that in 2017. It was approved for funding in 2018, but was never funded. It has now been approved for funding. There are some new certification requirements, and they insist that the town's, quote, legal officer, which they consider to be yours truly, sign the actual certification application. And this came in while I was away. We've been reviewing it, and it's 100% funded. It's $15,000, and it's to go towards the town being able, the police department being able to purchase body cameras for their officers. And so, assuming that the chief and I, in reviewing things, don't have a problem with the statutes to which we're certifying, I'll be seeking or asking town council to make a motion authorizing me to review it, and if it's acceptable to me and the chief, for me to sign on behalf of the town of Sunset Beach as its legal officer.
And can we just place that between A and B of the agenda? So just before minutes approval?
Sure. So it'd be like 7A2.
Okay. Is there anything else on the agenda? Review?
I'm fine.
Everybody good?
I'm good.
Good, Rich?
Yep. Thank you.
Council discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Charles.
the Sunset Vision Art Show and Sale was a big success. Some of those funds are used, that we raised are used to buy 4 handicap wheelchairs for the beach use, which we donated to the town. Everybody worked really hard. Everybody did a great job. Everybody had a good time.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
I'd like to personally thank the fire department. A few weeks ago, I broke my leg, and I was unable to get out of the house several times. I called the fire department, and they helped me get out of the house, and back to the doctor, back in the house from the hospital. So I'd just like to thank Paul and the fire department. And also, I was the first one to use the new chairs.
The new beach chairs?
Good. Anything else?
I've got an item.
Go ahead, John.
I was just primarily a question for Lisa. Do we normally advertise or put something in the paper to remind people that there's an election coming up and that we have 3 positions available? Is there something that precludes us from doing that? The registration period is like between July 5th and 19th, thereabouts, and we have the mayor and 2 council positions that are up for election. So, you know, the idea would be to encourage citizens to run for election.
That's because you're not running.
You got it.
We can check with the Board of Elections to see if that's something we
Yeah,
can do.
that's all the Board of Elections.
But I'm not aware of any municipality having done that. But like I said, we can check with the Board of Elections to see if it's possible. But we didn't budget that as part of y'all's advertising expense for election this year. But might be able to fit it in. If
I
it's,
mean,
if
that's
it's something
usually-
you all want.
That's usually well reported in the Beacon.
Yeah.
And that's a matter that's controlled or managed by the Board of Elections.
Right.
So we should be nonpartisan, period.
we would also have to pay for that, is that not correct?
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, we didn't
Yeah,
foresee any of that in the
yeah.
advertising part.
Yeah. Telling the community, though, that we have the slots available is not a partisan activity.
No.
It's just informing the citizens and making sure that they are aware.
That's reported in the Beacon. That is not an obligation or responsibility by the town.
I didn't
It's
say
the
it
Board
was.
of
I
Elections
was asking
matter.
if that's something that we could or should do.
I don't know whether should, but I can always check to see if we can. I'm just not aware of anything that's ever been done that way before. I mean, we can always, I mean, you're saying it right now, so we can make a public notice announcement like this at a meeting.
It never has.
Well, like I said, I've never been part of it either, but I don't know if there's anything that prohibits it either.
Well, actually, the timeframe doesn't really permit putting an ad in the paper or anything, but the timeframe does permit putting it on our info at Sunset Beach, telling the people.
What, on the website?
Checking there then?
I can check
All
on
right,
it.
Hiram, checking.
I just have one other thing, please. I was not able to attend the first concert, but talking to John and getting emails from John that there was a very big turnout, 500 people. It was a great time. And I think Sindai and town, Lisa and Hiram did a great job running it. They ran it very smoothly. And I'd like to congratulate the town, the police department, and fire department. They're doing a great job.
Definitely. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I think I read with interest in the Beacon of a request by someone on the planning board in Ocean Isle to dredge, or at least to do a study on Jinks Creek. Now, I don't know what that is referring to. Is that referring to Tubbs Inlet? I don't know what that is referring to, but I would like to get some additional information. They're also going to survey, if they do the study, they're also going to survey the impacted owners, something that we didn't do. But, Jan, is that Tubbs Inlet? You know this area better
No,
than I.
that's not necessarily Tubbs Inlet. Jinks Creek runs all the way up behind Ocean Isle. There's a restaurant on Ocean Isle Beach called Jinks something or other.
Jinks Creek.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, I don't know exactly where they're proposing, but I don't believe it's at Tubbs Inlet.
All right, so it's not related to the west end of,
Well, yes.
Ocean Isle,
Yes,
I mean-
it would be. Yes,
well,
it would be.
there's sandbags there already.
That's not the part that's called
That's
Jinks
not the
Creek.
part.
Backside, Richard.
It's further down.
It's further back.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Mr. Mayor, also, I read with interest, Town of Ocean Isle, to maintain revenue neutrality, had a 2-cent tax cut. And we have always had a long-standing practice in this town to maintain revenue neutrality, and that's been violated the past.
Point of order,
few
Mr.
years.
Mayor, the budget was passed.
Budget's gone,
It's,
Rich. It's
I am
gone.
not talking about the budget.
What are we talking about?
I just said it. Stop trying to,
Revenue neutral. I understand that,
all right.
but where are we going? What do you want to do?
Well, what, Hiram?
Microphone for the mayor.
No, I'm just making a statement.
Go ahead. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Go
Well,
ahead.
don't interrupt me. This town has always had a revenue neutral policy. It has been violated, and I'm going to submit an agenda report to formalize this policy, to ensure that we have an up and down vote, and to make sure that this policy is not violated again. Thank you.
That's fine.
I would hope that when you do that, you provide the background that documents that it has always had this revenue neutral policy, and that we have always abided by that revenue neutral policy. I'm not aware of it.
How have we, when we've increased the fire fee by 75% and did not have an offset rate reduction in the tax rate? So that's
See, we're going-
violating the
we're-
policy.
Give it up.
I'll submit an agenda report,
There
Mr.
you
Mayor.
go. There you go. That works. Anything else? We got about 3 minutes.
When is Mr. Neal coming to our next council meeting? Is he scheduled at all, Hiram? Is he?
Not that I'm aware of. Y'all haven't, as a council, asked him to show up, and he doesn't have an update for us yet because the permit's under review. So I wouldn't expect him actually to be here until we hear something back from DCM. Like as a regular update. So if there's something y'all specifically want of him, we can schedule something maybe for
Well, the
August.
comment period is taking place now, I think.
Till the
through
17th.
Through the 17th.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
Guys, 13 spaces.
We're good.
Good? Okay, welcome to our 7 o'clock council meeting. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Does any member of the council have a conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest with regard to any item on the agenda? And if so, please state so at this time.
No.
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 We need somebody to make a motion for grading.
I'd like to make a motion to have our town attorney pursue, be able to sign the grant for the body cameras for the police department.
And just for the record, it's the Byrne, B-Y-R-N-E, JAG grant, 100% funded. It's in concert between the Department of Public Safety, the Governor's Crime Commission, and the United States Department of Justice for $15,000 to go towards the purchase by the police department of body cameras. And I'm just seeking a motion authorizing me to sign on behalf of the town council, the town of Sunset Beach as its legal officer, assuming that the certifications are acceptable to myself and to the chief, based on the new requirements that they're asking us to certify to.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to stick around for the next session and for the next.
Okay, minutes for approval, June 3rd, June 15th, June 18th.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the June 3rd, June 15th, and June 18th minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you for your help.
Okay, at this time, we'll have the public comments on the agenda items only. Okay. Town administrator report, Hiram?
Yes, sir. since we've already talked about dredging a little bit, just want to point out that the notices for the public comment period have been posted all up and down Canal, Cobia, and North Shore Drive Extension. They direct people to contact DCM offices, specifically Tara McPherson, to register their opinions on the project. Her phone number there is listed. I forgot to bring it with me, and her email is listed on their website. So that comment period is ongoing right now through July 17th. So anybody who wants to talk about dredging with the state, this is their opportunity to do so. Also, Waste Industries, they are rebranding to Green for Life, GFL. They've been merged, so you will start seeing green trucks possibly driving through the town as they get updated and repainted. And any new cans being issued, most likely are going to be black with green tops, as opposed to what you're used to for your regular trash. Recycles will be green cans with black tops. So it's going to be a little multicolored as they start making the changes. They said they don't plan on making the changes to our cans this year, they said, unless they run out and they have to order more and start swapping them in. But those changes are going to start coming around. As you see, the trucks already driving through Sea Trail the other day were already green. So just be mindful that it's not a new company, same company, they're just rebranding. Also, concert, I feel like it was a good success for our first attempt. Roughly 600 people in attendance that we were able to grab head count. We had great cooperation between the council, the staff, and the community to help the cleanup afterwards. A lot of people stayed, a lot of people took their trash out with them, and everybody was using the cans as best they could. So I think first one was a good go. We're looking at ways to continue improving the process as we go through the summer. And we're glad to take any suggestions or comments or complaints or review or whatever. Just email me or come by the town hall. Yes, sir.
Question, anything special planned for July 3rd?
I don't know. According to CENDOT, it's just regular.
Okay.
With the late notice of getting everything started, there was no rhyme or reason moving into it moving forward. That's one of the things we'll look at if we proceed through next year.
Thank you.
Chanel has their fireworks July 3rd.
Is it on the 3rd this year? Okay.
Just thought I'd let you know.
Oh, really, on the 3rd?
Yeah.
Ocean
Ocean Isle Beach
Yeah.
fireworks on July the 3rd.
The concert will be over by the time the fireworks
Yeah.
start.
Yeah,
Be
the
over
sun
by
will still
8,
be
they'll
up.
have time to get over there and look at it. Go
See it from your
Go to
deck.
Palm Grove.
You can see it from your deck.
Did Waste Industries ever get back to us with any of their tonnage?
I've got some of the tonnage reports. It's not for the full month of June yet. As it's looking on what I'm looking at, there seemed to be a spike one week that there was more trash, like almost double trash, collected on both days. So even Saturday had a double trash from the year before. But there was also a week where last year was doubled this year. So I'm waiting for a full month to get a full average to look at.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Saturday, we went over to the beach to cut the grass at the house between renters. And I got over there and here was the trash can full to overflowing, a couple bags next to the trash can. And I thought, man, the renters didn't get it out. And about 10:30 or 20 of 11, here comes the trash truck. Now, I don't know if they've changed, but the one thing I did notice was checkout time is 10. Most of the people are gone. There wasn't any traffic on the streets, not like at check-in time or at, say, between 8 and 10. I hope they've changed their the theory of early pickup on Saturday.
Yeah, I wasn't able to get time to contact them today just after I saw your email this weekend. So I don't know if that was planned or delayed.
Let's hope it was planned.
The last 2 weeks at least, the recycle has been coming pretty early, around the 7 to 8 o'clock time. And the trash pickup on Saturday has been a couple hours later. Yeah, so that would work better. Still need to get the people to put the trash out the night before.
As the ordinance says.
Anything else?
I'm good.
Finance, Tara.
Terry Cole.
Yeah. Not as bad as I usually am. You have the finance report in front of you. Everything's coming in pretty close to where it should be. I am currently working on the adjusting entries for year end. So I can't give you an exact of where everything is because there's different journal entries that I have to do. I have been in contact with our auditors. We had a meeting in the end of April, beginning of May, just to get everything ready for the audit because I want to be prepared and have everything on time and make sure that everything's lined up. They will be coming in August. So we will be ahead of the game and on time with our audit this year. Are there any questions with the financial statement?
Are there any surprises coming down the line to the
No.
last month?
No, most of the things that were unexpected, I took care of in the budget amendment that we did last month. We had some pleasant things that were unexpected, so that was really good. Projects coming in under budget that we were able to get revenue back from the state. Departments did a really good job at coming in under expenses to make sure that we were lined up where we needed to be. So I think we're in really good shape going into the end of the year.
Good, thank you.
Great.
Are there any other questions? Thank you.
Tara. You bet. Thank you, Tara. Stormwater, John?
Thank you. You saw that we, and I reported before, that we finished the Azalea Drive drainage easement project. And I've been working on bid specifications for the projects for this fiscal year, doing a lot of that, doing some inspections. Last week, I think on Friday, Dustin's crew did some Band-Aid repair work on 28th Street. That might be a project that calls for moving it up the schedule a little bit because of what he discovered, and maybe he'll talk more about that, but didn't want to steal his thunder. But anyway, that's what we have going, and mainly working on preparations for this fiscal year, which starts today. Any questions?
Is there going to be at some point in time a project list so that we can measure, the accomplishments? Because this is, I feel like this is the Band-Aid period to take care of the most important
Right,
issues.
right.
But there's a lot of other issues that have been identified and I think prioritized.
And that's a good question. I'll start putting, I have documented what the CIP plan calls for this year too.
Okay.
But I'll start including that in the monthly report, as well as highlighting the additional work that wasn't scheduled. So you'll be
that'd be
able to see
great.
both that. That's
That'd
good,
be
good
great,
point.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Because we'd like to know. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Public Works?
I'd just like to add that the additional parking down there at the town park has been installed, and it seems to be working pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah, looks good.
There's a little bit of tweaking we got to do with some striping, but other than that, it's functioning well.
How many, 13 spaces?
13 spaces that was added down there. And to what John was talking about, the pipe is deteriorated, it's in very bad shape. It's old corrugated pipe that was put in years ago
This is on 28th Street?
on 28th Street. Yes.
You wouldn't change that pipe out this time of year, would you?
No, it had to be in the fall.
Oh.
Because we have to go across the gentleman's driveway across from you, across from 28th Street, across from your house. We'll have to go across his driveway and give him notice that he have to move. Or right now it's being rented, so yeah, it had to be during the fall, in the wintertime.
And Dustin, you are making that
Yes, we have. Matter of fact, I done another run today on, looked at some lots to send letters out already to some more.
The process, do you send the letter out, wait 2 weeks? What happens then?
Now, we have to give them 30 days. We give them 30 days to respond back. If not, we'll reach it back out to them again with a certified letter. Then if we don't, then we'll move about hiring a contractor, somebody to do it. Then we'll turn around and bill the property owner.
That process is about 45 days.
Yes.
2 months, right?
About 2 months.
Is there any way we can shorten that? Or what we'd have to do to shorten that, because we're talking about the summer.
The way the ordinance works, we can go ahead and do it after the first 30 days. What you usually run into then is they come crying they never got the letter, and then y'all forgive the fee.
Why don't we just send a certified letter to begin with?
We can do that. Our 30-day count will start the day they sign the receipt and send it back.
That would shorten it up some, wouldn't it?
Sure.
2 months
You
is
wanna do
just
that?
kind of.
We don't usually have to go back and bush hog. Most of them
No.
take care of it within
Yeah.
the 30 days.
But if we just sent out the certified letter right off the hop,
If that's how the council wants to approach it, we'll be more stern.
Do I have to make a motion to that? or-
No, we can just do
Yeah, I
it.
think,
Just give it
send a
direct-
certified letter.
Yeah,
Okay.
just be more stern. Plus, also, once the cops hire their code enforcement officer, this will go to that person.
okay.
So you'll be dealing with citations instead of,
Okay, we'll do that. Anything else? Anything else?
Anything else, Dustin?
No.
Thank you, Dustin. Chief? Fire Department?
I've got a whole bunch for you. Not a whole bunch, but a couple things. On the data report that we put in your packet, one thing I'd like to point out especially is in May specifically, we taught 100 residents CPR, hands-on CPR. So that number's not as high every month, but it was very good teaching residents CPR. So that's a compliment to the firefighters teaching and all the residents getting involved with that. I've been working on with Brunswick Community College. They have in the state of North Carolina, they've started a work-based learning program. So Hiram and I have looked over some of what they wanted to do, and actually they reached out to me after they saw our summer apprentice program to see if we could do anything else with the students that are in the EMT program. So we're looking at that, and I've interviewed a couple candidates with the college, and essentially they would be volunteer type employees that we could put on the beach with a paramedic in the UTV for some on-the-job training, and then once they get certified up to a certain number of hours, we could utilize them on the beach too. So another good program, relatively cheap, and we get on-the-job professional training for students in Brunswick County. So that's
Well,
a no.
Ernest, the new kid, that's working the beach, beach patrol, he's very professional boy.
Yeah, he, and actually,
I've been betting, so he can't be that bad.
right.
You
So
got lucky.
that's another note I have on my paper. The summer apprentice program, as we set it up, and ultimately recruited Madison, is working exactly how we wanted it to. If we could have 2 or 3 Madisons maybe next year as we expand the program and do a little bit more recruiting, it's very good for us because it's cost effective. It's very good for the student because he's getting on-the-job training, and I will write him one heck of a letter of recommendation by the end of the summer if he keeps it up. So I'll share your thanks to him, and I agree, he's doing a great job for us.
Madison seems to be making a good public impression too when he's out there on the beach and in the fire department, so that's
Yep.
good.
So just as a difference from last summer, the beach patrol, we've spent 0 amount of money on overtime by paying firefighters to work on the beach. We've done a good job recruiting seasonal employees, and haven't had to use any overtime to cover the beach at all this year. And also with that, Being said, there's been 0 instances where we've had to take firefighters off the fire engines and put them on the beach and leave the town short-staffed. So staffing-wise, that's all going well and as planned to meet the needs not only of the beach, but anything going on in the town. The staffing as far as this week, everything's getting busy. You guys all see everything gearing up for July 4th. Staffing for the beach, for the fire department, we've got it squared away. It's good to go. So we won't have any issues there. On June 26th, I was on the beach that afternoon about 2 o'clock. I drove to the west end, coming back towards the pier and headed to the east end a little bit. There was, you guys have all probably seen them, those little wind tornadoes that come out of nowhere. I don't know if you saw anybody talking about it or hearing about it, but there was one that came through and grabbed a couple umbrellas, a couple tornadoes. Nobody got hurt, but those are, a couple of folks asked me if there was anything we could do to stop that. And the answer is quite simply no. I'm not. If I could predict a little sand tornadoes, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd be on a big yacht somewhere. But so that's a nature thing that is hard to predict, and they come out of the blue. And my best advice is for people to watch, or they see them coming, grab onto your umbrellas, your chairs, your cabanas, everything, and also watch out for your neighbor or give them a holler too. So
Pull anybody out when your tide's a problem?
not yet this year. Knock on wood. We've had a couple water rescue type calls, boat stuck and on either end of the inlet. Horry County called us last night for a boat that was stranded they couldn't get to, so we helped them out. There was also a boat in Tubbs Inlet that ran aground. They were stuck, couldn't get out. The tide was going down. Our guys were luckily able to get our boat in, but they got the people to the island, and then they couldn't get our boat out because the tide dropped and the water level. So our boat stayed the night behind Palm Cove last night. And they went and got it when the tide started coming up, when they could shoot the gap back out. So,
Chief, can you help me out?
sure.
Because I can't answer a question that a citizen asked me, and I even had it verified. The citizen told me that Ocean Isle spends $30,000 a year for beach patrol. And I didn't know, so I went to Ocean Isle and I asked them for their beach patrol budget. And it was $30,000. I can't change the budget, and I accept that. But according to the data that Tara provided me, we spend, excluding equipment, $80,000 for labor. Ocean Isle spends 30. Now, Ocean Isle's a bigger beach. It's a larger beach and it's a much longer beach. I'm just trying to inject some sense to, are we overkilling this program? I mean, are we spending too much for it? I can't answer that. The budget's been approved, but it's something that I would like to have you look into to see what they do and how they help control costs. That's all I'm suggesting. I'm not going to do it. I would like you to do it to see what they do and what is different.
I can't.
I don't
speak-
know. I can't
yeah.
answer it.
I can't speak as far as what their budget actually is. I've never seen it.
Well, it's 30,000.
As far as comparatively, operationally, the beach patrol on Ocean Isle, comparatively to the beach patrol operations on Sunset Beach, are drastically different, staffed by different types of personnel, different responsibilities. So
I understand that.
I don't know everything that they do,
Yeah, I understand.
but I do know there's some significant differences.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, it is a heck of a lot of money for a few months. That's all.
Let's see. I'll look into it a little bit more as maybe by the fall, when I do a beach review, I can add a few things. The two more things, I think. Three more. I've had a couple people, and I know Hiram's gotten a couple questions about why we see occasionally two people on the UTVs. Most of the times when he shoots me a text or an email, it's me riding or Deputy Chief Childers. So that's most of the instances of a second person on the UTV. The other instances are when, and it's winding down, but initially early Easter time, May, into a little bit of June, there was some training being done. So that's the answer to that question. If anybody asks you, we're not typically riding two people on a UTV. They're typically by themselves unless there's training going on or it's the deputy chief and I riding along with them. So,
But they're made for two people.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them can have, well, the bigger ones have 4 seats actually if you fold them up. But
So what is their point? What are they saying? What are they trying to get to?
I'm not sure, but I've heard the question, and Hiram has several times. So I just wanted to.
A lot of people keep asking why there's two people riding on at a time.
So that's just the reason why occasionally you might see two people in it. I think in an email I sent you all last Sunday, I spoke about me sitting on the beach. I took my daughters to the beach, and I was just listening to the radio and watching, and I was very happy to see Beach Patrol on the move, and they actually caught a couple things that were relatively close to me that I didn't even see. So they are out there, they're talking to people, they're taking care of people, making sure that people are educated on the town ordinances and then holding folks accountable to your ordinances. So they're doing a good job, and they didn't know I was sitting there. So that reassured me that they're doing what they're supposed to out on the beach. I was also out there this past Saturday for several hours with my truck, and I drove around a bit, watched Beach Patrol, and just was there as a support because it started getting pretty busy around the pier. Deputy Chief Childers was on the beach this past Sunday for a few hours, and to be in that level of supervision as well. I also provided in that email that I'd give you some statistics about umbrellas, chairs, and cabanas left on the beach. And I have current numbers since, which this is interesting, and I know in the past years, the deputy chief told me that they've never really kept track of this type of data, and I said, well, if anybody asks us how much stuff's left on the beach, I want to be able to tell everyone. Since Easter, we've picked up 255 chairs off the beach, 159 umbrellas, and 87 cabanas. And that's...
Were they set up all or by the garbage can broken? The majority of broken?
Yes, all of the above. Some set up, some by the garbage cans, some in the middle of the beach, you name it. I couldn't tell you like how many were right next to the trash can, but they're all over. I actually went out Wednesday night with two of the guys, two of the volunteer firemen. They make a couple trips a week. And I said, I want to go with you just to see. And I rode with them, and they were all over the beach. The other big thing is holes. Holes that get left on the beach. Those guys go around and they're filling in holes and whatnot. So, but and I'm gonna keep track of that just to give us an idea over the whole summer. But varying reasons for it.
What do you do with all of that trash?
Take them to the dumpster.
Is it big enough?
They empty it about every day, right? Yep.
Well, I think you guys have been on beaches, we can tell, and you guys are doing a great job.
Yes, they are.
They do a great job.
I've gotten more compliments and than complaints. You know, there's thousands and thousands of people out there. Every now and again, we'll get a complaint, but it's good.
How many do we have out there, Chief, on a given day? Just 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
3 to 4.
That's not a lot of people for the size of that beach. So, yeah, they do a great job.
It takes a while to, it takes a number of people on the team to keep that level of staffing all summer long. So, to go that. Question for you. You getting any responses yet for the full-time assistant fire chief of the beach patrol and the community risk reduction position?
I've got 2 applications currently, but I've probably received a dozen or more email inquiries, and it's still early to me.
Yes, the 12th is when the cutoff date.
I think we'll probably see some more.
Okay, good. No more?
Anyone else?
Good job, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Todd, Planning Director?
All right. Another active month here. The last planning board meeting, of course, you all know, the planning board met and did table the Artesa Village apartment complex over on High Market Street. That, as you know, garnered a lot of attention from the public, staff, and other folks in the community. The Board of Adjustment met and approved their minutes and installed 2 members. Also went ahead and scheduled a training for the Board of Adjustment, just to keep them up on laws and what have you, as they haven't had a training in a while, and that'll be provided by the Cape Fear Council Governments at no charge to the town. We talked a little bit about code enforcement earlier in the meeting. We've also, in our department, been dealing with code enforcement. 513 Shoreline Drive was a mess and had that cleaned up. They're continuing to work on that property to get that in order. The Dollar General, I know that's a hot topic. Working with those folks, they've recently switched property owners, so I'm having to chase that down, but we're getting close to the end. I did hand deliver the letter as well to the store, so we're coming up on that 30-day period, and we'll be able to.
I noticed it was cut today.
Was it cut today?
Not very pretty, but it's cut.
Oh, well, good.
Are they gonna take that tree out?
That was part of the letter. That is part of the whole package of getting everything cleaned up and actually not so much removing the tree as much as bringing it into compliance with their approved site plan when they had to build the building.
Beds also be cleaned up.
They need to do all that work, all of that. So I'm happy to hear that they started. We just got to get them across the finish line.
And
So-
513 has been cleaned up a bunch.
513 has been cleaned up as far as the yard work goes. They've got some debris sitting out on the side of the road that we need to get handled and moved out, and more importantly, they're actually, for the last 2 weeks, they've continued to work on the property itself, on the actual structure. Fingers crossed that they continue to work on that and get that property in shape so it blends in with the rest of the surrounding community there.
I know I called you several times for the police contact, but you were taking care of
39th Street, yes, the illegal fill, yes. I sent Stanley down to issue a stop work order. There was some illegal fill taking place down there. We've made phone calls and touch base with the builder that is involved with that project, and we will ensure that they get the proper paperwork, and any fines that may need to be imposed on that project as well. Fortunately, just on visual, it looks like they are still within the bounds of what they can do. It's just a matter of getting the survey work and all the numbers in to ensure that everything's done properly. So also started working on the community rating system recertification so we can keep our status in that program running smoothly, gathering all that paperwork, working with the other department heads in regard to gathering information from stormwater, inspections and other items that are required there. Still moving along at a steady clip as far as construction goes. We've got 23 houses on the mainland going, 23 houses on the island under construction. Those numbers do not include the 6 or 7 homes that we permitted, or are, that have come in the past week, I should say. They're not, haven't been reflected in the numbers that I've been able to send out because they haven't been fully processed, but there's a bunch going on there. About 50-50 there between the island and the mainland again. Also met with Paramount Engineering, and they are working with Bill Clark Homes. As I mentioned in my report on Friday, completing out Sunset Ridge, and the goal there would be to reduce it down to 26 single-family lot, or 26 lots with that they would put duplexes on, so you'd have 52 units as opposed to the currently approved 113, 115 unit project that they could go ahead and build out today to match the existing Sunset Ridge project. They also are discussing potentially picking up another tract of land to do a single-family home project between Angels Trace and the main commercial corridor coming into town.
Seaside.
Seaside. Thank you. So I don't have any specifics on that. I don't have any plans that have been submitted to me at this time, so it's a very preliminary. They're doing their due diligence. As soon as I have something that I can share with you, I'd be more than happy to do so, but you know, we'll make sure that it stays within the bounds of the ordinance and moves forward.
Question there. Those are both ETJ projects, right?
Yes, both projects
Okay.
are located
So,
within
so what
ETJ.
responsibility does the town have?
Land use planning as well as building inspections.
So they have to follow our codes?
Yes, all of our UDO codes come into play for any ETJ project. Yes.
But none of our town ordinances.
Nuisance codes, things of that nature would not be
Right.
included.
Even driveway ordinances, things like that. It's anything that's only in the UDO.
Todd, I want to thank you for the detailed reports that you've been putting together. I liked the last one very much, it was excellent.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Todd. Police Department, Chief?
I'll be brief. Good evening. If there's any questions on the information in the packet, I'll be happy to answer those at this time. If not, I just want to remind everyone that with this holiday that's coming up, fireworks are absolutely 100% prohibited. That means they're not allowed. They can't be purchased, transported, brought, shot, anything in the state or in Sunset Beach. So we're going to be out patrolling for those this weekend, and if we see reports, I encourage folks in Sunset Beach to call us if you see it, if you hear it, and we'll do our best to try to track it down and make it stop.
And these are 911 calls that people should make?
They are. That's the easiest way to get us. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I got a question, Chief, on these golf carts over on the island.
Mhm.
What is the legal age that they can be driving these things?
We follow what's in the North Carolina General Statute for a low-speed vehicle. In order to operate a low-speed vehicle in the state, you have to be licensed, so minimum 16 years of age.
16?
Yes.
Okay.
We did just,
What do you do when you do catch a child, or, you know, the person riding it? Do you go back to the parents' house and tell them?
we do. If it's somebody that's under that age, that's, you know, there's folks that visit from out of town, kids get in the parents' hair sometimes, and they say, take the golf cart, go do something. We try to educate them, make sure that they understand so that they don't do it again. So normally when we tell the families, hey, this is the law, this is what you have to do, we never see them out again. So if they're just driving and not being reckless, not being careless, then that usually takes care of the problem.
See, sometimes I see these golf carts exceeding 20 miles an hour. Do they have governors on them? Some of them can fly.
A low-speed vehicle can go up to 35 miles an hour. So they still have to follow the speed limits. So again, no different than a motor vehicle. I would encourage any resident that sees anything, you know, whether it's a motor vehicle or a low-speed vehicle, call us, let us know. Sometimes there's a minimum number of police officers that are responsible for both the mainland and the island. So we can't have eyes everywhere at the same time. And of course, this weekend, the island's going to be overflowing. And we're going to do our best to do what we can, but we still need to know. If we're down on the east end dealing with a fireworks complaint and there's something going on the west end, we'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, because I've seen kids driving over there in the evening. Usually, you know, after 7
Sure.
o'clock, I take a ride over there.
Sure.
And there's some young kids driving those
Uh,
golf carts.
We had a
You know,
staff
and
meeting.
They pile them on. They get
They
4 or
do.
5 of them in there.
Right.
And
They're
It's-
supposed to have seatbelts too, right?
They are. It's unsafe. I know I've seen mothers with infants in their laps
Yeah,
while
I
they're
saw one
driving.
yesterday.
And you wouldn't do that in a motor vehicle. You can't do that in a low-speed vehicle. And again, just education is key. We put an informational piece out just this weekend about golf carts. Anytime that we see it, we try to educate as best we can. And usually it does the trick when we talk to them, and we don't see that again, but there's no guarantee that person's going to come back the next year. So each year, each weekend, we're educating more and more people. So again, I would encourage those phone calls. We had a staff meeting before the start of the busy season, and I asked for a diligent enforcement of golf cart rules because of the dangers associated with it, and people just, for one reason or another, they don't check before they do, and they just go and do, and then try to ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, and they don't think about the consequences.
Correct.
Beach break.
That's one way to put it. They leave it on the other side at the roundabout. Any other questions?
I think that the signboard at the North Shore and Sunset Boulevard on the island is very helpful and very useful, but it's been there for a while. Are you getting any complaints or feedback, or
I
what kind
have
of community reaction are you getting?
I have 2 pending requests for that sign in neighborhoods for speed. So it's going to be moved. We're going to leave it there this weekend for fireworks, but then it's coming off because I've got, like I said, I've got 2 neighborhoods that have a request pending. I've gotten good feedback on it. The only thing is that it's now getting so full of information that I've had people say, I've had to pull over on the side of the road and read this because it takes some time. We have trash messages on there. We have concert messages on there. We have parking messages on there. And like I said, the request for it to be elsewhere in town, we're getting our money's worth out of it, that's for sure.
Good. I think so too, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
And the last one is, have you started recruiting or advertising for your code enforcement
Today.
and animal control officer?
What I did is when the budget was approved, I put a posting internally for that animal control position / code enforcement to see if anybody internally was interested with a deadline today. That's so that when we officially got into the new fiscal year, I knew if I was advertising for an animal control officer. There was interest internally for that position. So just today, we started advertising for a full-time patrol officer position, which will replace the animal control code enforcement, which is going to be a lateral move.
Good, good.
So short answer, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Chief, is that the only sign we have?
That is the only one. Yes, sir.
And we could justify another one?
I think so. With
Okay.
the amount of use that it's had there on the
'Cause I
island
noticed, yeah, we've
and
been
the
adding to
effects
it.
that we've had from it, we could easily
Since we
justify
figured out
another
that we
one.
could put other things on it, there's a lot on there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It might be something.
Anyone else?
This is for Hiram. Could accommodation taxes be used to pay for that traffic sign, since a lot of that information is for our visitors?
The way that our legislation is written, yes, but I wouldn't say fully. Because we won't use it year-round just for tourism and visitor activity. It'd still be used annually for other activities possibly. So I'd say a good portion of it could, yes.
Okay. Something to think about, how we do that.
Yeah, because it seems like we could justify another one. If we've got to take that one off the beach during the summer. then
Correct.
We could use another one. I don't think they're that much. I don't know.
What were they, chief?
$15,000. That one has a radar unit in it, which moves the price up considerably, probably another $5,000–6,000.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's smaller versions available. There's ones that just do speed. So if we wanted to dedicate that more for the summertime, because it has the variable message capability, we could buy a smaller one that just does radar. So the 2 requests that I have pending are because of speed. That's an option, something we could discuss.
Does it, chief?
It does not. No.
So-
You can't issue a violation.
You cannot, no.
So a radar-only one would be less than $10,000.
It would be,
And that would serve the purpose that you're having to take this one off the beach for.
correct.
Okay.
Are we telling Ken to look into that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it sounds
That
like
would be a
we have
21 budget item?
Yeah, we have a
Okay.
need for one.
We do?
Obviously, we have a need. If we're taking the one off the island right now, we have a need for one. Because you're going to take that one off the island next week?
coming off next week. Yes,
So
sir.
then we're not gonna have one on the island.
I think, you know, because, you know, we get weekly renters, so I think it's crucial to have that on the island, the Oregon concert series, and I think it really plays a big role on the island. So I
Trash.
think we do need something as far as off the island.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree.
mean, I think it would be useful to have one on the island every week. But, yeah,
I will look into
Yeah,
it,
look
for
into
sure.
it.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
okay, that's it for the departments. Next up, old business, to officially remove North Jenks Creek from the shoreline management program. Councilman Serrato?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In addition to the agenda report, as you know, the council officially placed the North Jinks Creek as part of the dredging program. Due to the many environmental complexities, the scoping meeting members removed North Jinks Creek from the program. Apparently, many citizens may not be aware of this decision. I say this because the council received a letter recently, I think this past weekend, and it stated, North Jinks Creek is Phase 3, and to arbitrarily remove it from the project would be gross negligence.
On the part of the council.
Could you excuse me, please?
Excuse you.
Will you
All
let me
right.
finish?
Go ahead, Rich, finish up. Go ahead.
As you know, we have no control what future councils can do or will do. However, I believe this council has an obligation to publicly recognize the scoping meeting's decision for both accountability and clarification in order to avoid this confusion and apparently maybe false hope. Mr. Mayor, I am requesting an up and down vote on the following motion. I would like to make a motion that this council officially remove North Jinks Creek from the dredging program.
Second?
Mr. Mayor, can I have a discussion?
Sure.
No,
So have a second?
we don't have a second.
No, second if you want.
I don't want to.
There's no second.
I'll tell you why I'm not going to
Motion
second it.
fails.
Since we don't have a second,
Done.
we can discuss it or?
No, it's over. It's over. Wasn't the motion failed?
May I, Mr. Mayor, may I give a reason for not giving a second?
Go ahead, Jen.
I think there's a lot of concerns with dredging North Jinks Creek. It'll be a costly endeavor. You know, all of these things we already know. But right now, we have a permit application in the process. And I don't know how many people have looked at a major camera permit that has been permitted, but I've looked at a number of them. And they all, every single one I've ever seen, have conditions put on them. We don't know what kind of conditions are going to be put on this application we've got in. Maybe none, but maybe there will be. And I think it's premature to make any kind of decision until we hear back from DCM on this permit application.
That's absolutely right.
That's correct. Thank you.
Thank
Jen.
you, Jan.
Very good.
Okay. Public hearing request, Article 10, landscaping text amendment. Todd?
Eddie Boyd.
All right, we've got the planning board spent the last several months researching, discussing how to regulate non-biodegradable landscape materials. Environmental concerns of these non-biodegradable materials entering the waterways and stormwater retention systems are the key reason for the planning board recommending this amendment. At their last meeting, they recommended a unanimous approval of the UDO text amendment citing consistency with the KAMA Land Use Plan, Chapter 10-25, stating that where in the plan it states, preserve, conserve, and/or otherwise protect valuable and beneficial natural resources, in particular surface water and wetlands, as well as reduce the negative effects of stormwater runoff and flooding. And then it goes into the whole text amendment there that they've recommended in the red that you have before you, where we talk about eliminating non-biodegradable man-made mulch, including recycled tires, what zoning districts it goes into, keeping it out of the more sensitive flood zone areas along our coastal waterways. And then, so staff is recommending accepting the planning board recommendation and setting a public hearing for August 5th, 2019 at 7 p.m.
What day is that? Oh, I'm sorry.
August 5th.
August 5th.
It's our next council meeting. We need a motion.
We need a motion.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the planning board's motion to put it on August 5th.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
You drop some.
Thank you, Todd. Okay, we got the disposition of directives for August 5th, 2019 meeting. Gauss Cemetery at Seaside. We got nothing there. We talked about that today. Oyster Bay Road closing easement. That's still.
Yeah, Grady's
up in
still
the
working.
air.
He's got to get with the county.
Okay. The Alligator Management Services discussion, we know that's still up in the air, Chief. CAMA Land Use Plan discussion,
Not yet,
okay. Parking Problem Solutions,
not yet.
Beach Rules Committee Objectives,
Not yet.
okay. The legal review for dredging, erosion, and flooding. And number 8 is a legal review to re-examine the dredging assessment fee allocation.
Mr. Attorney Richardson has that.
No,
Oh,
at the last meeting, y'all decided to put it on the August 5th meeting so y'all could direct what questions y'all want to get out of this so that we can then send it to the attorney to have him actually give a review. We don't have any substantive information to hand him. So
Excellent.
y'all will be able to
That's all.
gather that together.
Thanks.
May I
I have a-
ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Just exactly what does this mean?
That's what we're having the meeting for, so that Councilman Serrato can explain to us what he wants the attorney to look at.
You're going to prepare the
We,
questions? right?
we already have decided how the,
Well, you have proposed and made it a consensus agreement what to move forward with.
it was a unanimous
But as has been
approval.
explained multiple times over the last year, it's not official until you hold your public hearings. You cannot-
Understand.
So that, I don't know what Councilman Serrato wants out of it. That's why we're having the meeting to get together to make whatever should be sent to the attorney.
Number one, when the dredging assessment allocation was decided, it was a 4-0 vote. I was not here. The issue was it was never on the agenda. It was a motion made during a discussion with the consultant. It was not listed on the agenda. And that is in violation of the open meeting laws. Now, I have some questions regarding linear feet versus plat, and I think I would like to have the council listen to them.
You're on, August 5th.
Thank you.
I have a question. How much are all these legal reviews costing us?
Well, this one
That's
is
why I
not,
And Mr. Serrato complained how much we were paying the attorney, and yet he keeps adding to the bill.
That's why we're having a discussion amongst y'all, so y'all can figure out exactly what the issues are, and then to proceed to move them forward to the attorney or not.
I don't think this needs to go to the attorney.
That's what y'all will be
that's
deciding
what
on the
we'll be
5th.
discussing.
yeah,
We'll decide it on the 5th.
yeah. But I don't see how the previous action violated an open meeting laws.
Me either.
You know, the open meeting laws gets violated every time one of our council members sends an email that includes more than one other council member on it when expressing an opinion. That's a violation of the open meeting laws. You know, it's very clear on that. And
It
so,
was
and we
never
did.
an agenda topic to make the motion. It was not listed on the agenda to make the
Okay.
motion.
All right.
That's not an
regarding
open meeting law
Rich,
decision.
Rich.
Don't mix
Rich.
apples with oranges, John.
You're the one who brought up
That's your game.
open meeting law.
That's
You
been
brought
your
up the
game
open
for
meeting
2
law.
years.
All right. I wasn't here for that.
It's called transparency.
So we're going to do this on August the 5th,
Thank you.
and we'll decide then. But I can't comment on that because I wasn't here.
I have a question I think that Hiram
ahead.
can probably answer. Does this open the door to changing the entire motion that was passed?
Well, yes, technically, but it's not this that opens that door. That opens that door is you still have not had your public hearing on it.
Okay, what I'm asking is, does this open the door to changing who pays for this project?
It shouldn't, because from the very day one of this whole consideration for several years now, it's those adjoining the waterway.
Okay, just as long as we're sure of
That's
that.
there. What brings into question is how you do the assessment. And as I've told y'all multiple times, legally, that final decision cannot be made until after the public hearing of the assessment roll.
Right.
You will make that decision at the time that you also permit the project, that your intent is, if you approve moving forward, if we get the permit, and then we'll have another public hearing after the project's completed and all the costs are in for y'all to make that final decision if it really is linear foot or per parcel.
Okay.
We cannot legally do that. I mean, y'all can make your
But
intention.
we can make the decision at our next council meeting.
Yeah, you can still move forward, but you'll still have, what I'm saying is, the final decision will not be made until we have the assessment roll, which will not happen until after the project is completed.
Understand, but will we be making a decision at our next council meeting to change it from linear to,
I have no idea what Councilman
but that
Serrato's.
can happen?
Yes, but
That's not.
as
the-
I've pointed out multiple times, it doesn't matter, because it won't be official regardless.
I understand, I'm just trying to be clear about what's going to
I don't
transpire.
have I don't know what his
Okay.
intention is.
ERC appointment
We
consideration?
are getting ready to set the interviews for this month. Councilwoman Harris's calendar is the only one we're missing. Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and, I know you've got other things going on, so we're just going to go ahead and get those people in here, and if you can make it, wonderful. If not, we understand. We've only got 6 applicants, one of which is an ETJ member. So really, it'll be between those 5 for the 4 seats for the town.
Can we set up meetings for Lisa, Janet did on the phone?
That's also a possibility. You can conference call in.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
So once we know those dates, we'll check with you to see if you're available. If not, we can see if you're a time
I
available.
I
for a
could
call
do
in.
that.
So,
Okay.
but we won't know about the appointments until the interviews, but we're looking at possibly the second meeting in August or the first meeting in September.
Okay.
Would be
Okay.
the date for the appointment.
Just as long as it's not in July.
Well,
July's,
The interviews will be this month.
okay, that's the month I
But
have
I'm
a
saying,
problem with.
I know, but the appointment, okay, well, the interviews we're going to figure out for this month or August.
Okay,
As I haven't seen everybody's calendar, so. But
Okay.
Lisa's telling me that's going to be complicated to do it this month.
Planning board appointment considerations?
Similar situation has just been described,
Okay.
and we're still waiting for the application period to end.
Jaguars Lock?
Y'all have that on the 5th.
We have it on the 5th. Didn't we contacted them to,
Grady's still in the process. He had that
Okay.
2-week vacation. It's been, I understand, a little bit of phone tag.
okay. And Waste Industries rep visit pickup schedule? I don't think,
I've been playing phone tag with Alan anyway, so
okay.
if y'all want to try to pick a date, I can see if he can make it.
Well, I don't know whether at this time,
We can wait
I'd
till
like
after
to
the
see the
summers.
tonnage of
I'd
what
like
the
to see the
difference is
summers full
before
of
we have
tonnage.
them down here.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
Let's see the numbers.
didn't know what we're talking
All
about.
right, so hopefully have me all of it by the middle of September as far as the whole summer's worth of tonnage.
Yeah, and we can see whether it was worth it to have that Thursday to Saturday, because I just.
The numbers are coming in. Like I said, I don't have a full month to go
Yeah.
by, so.
Yeah, let's just wait.
It's
We'll see
sporadic.
what happens on that.
What about the merchants group?
We have contacted Dean. We're waiting for a date or an official response.
Okay.
Speaking of the merchants group, if I may, this was to be presented as Dean Nelson wanted to address the council. Now, I talked to Dean today at the market, and she was quite clear. She did not ask to address the council. Mr. Serrato asked her to address the council.
So? Well,
Well, when Mr. Serrato
she-
brought it up,
is she
he
a-
said, Dean,
is she
ask-
opposed to coming?
she said she didn't have time.
Okay, then we will never get it on the agenda then. Because we're waiting on her, so if
Well,
she
I
doesn't.
don't like the idea of Mr. Serrato
So?
stating one thing that's a lie.
Yeah, we're almost at the end of this meeting, so
Charlie,
we're almost through it.
grow up.
We're almost through it.
You've criticized the Beacon,
almost
you've
through it, Rich.
criticized the police, you've called council.
Rich, we're almost through
It gets tired, Charlie, it really does.
it. Almost there.
You have to tell them what to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Public comments. Almost got through. Are there any public comments? Okay, meeting's adjourned.
You know,